Okay guys, so this is something that I need to do for myself. This is something that I need a video log, and I don't know how to go about this without getting goosebumps. I live in a haunted house. I live in a house that from time to time we get spirits here. And, you know, I've talked to people, family members, things of that nature. And we've kind of told them our experiences. And I live in a haunted house. I mean, I live in a house that has a past. It has a past. We don't exactly know what it was. We just know that people have died here. Well, we don't know if it was in the house or while living here. I mean, like at the hospital. This house people used to sell drugs out of this house. This house has been drive-by before, years ago. This because I have a neighbor that's been here 30 years, and he's seen this house go from owner to owner to owner, and I am the last owner. Obviously, I'm still here. So he knows a little bit about this house, and this is going to be a long video, just to let you know. If you want to stay tuned and hear the stories that I have to tell you about this house, and if you have testimony to something that you lived through, I'll believe you. Why? Because I lived through things here at this house. Okay, one of the first ones when we were just moving in, didn't know anybody in the neighborhood. I started fixing the house a little bit. I work in construction, so I kind of had potential to fix this house more than what it was. And we were doing work on the door, on the front door. And we took the frame out. I had bought a brand new doorbell and stuff. Took the door out, put the door back in. It was probably 11 o'clock at night when we were done doing the framing and all that stuff. Me and my brother-in-law were doing it. And it's 11 o'clock. And we were coming from the door into my room because I had material there. We were still getting sold to the master room, which is the kids' toy room now. And as soon as we're walking by the doorbell, where the ringer, the freaking doorbell, I guess, not the clicker or whatever, it goes off. And oh wait, I'm lying. It was just me and my wife. My brother-in-law had just left. It was me and my wife going into the room, going to sleep already. It was 11. Because it happened with my brother-in-law too. But wait. So we're going in the room, and the doorbell goes off. And I'm new to the neighborhood, and at the time I didn't even have a gun on me. I had a couple rifles. I didn't even have them here at the house yet. So I go to the kitchen, boom, I grab a big ass kitchen knife, and I'm like, I got a big ass kitchen knife, and I'm like, who the fuck is at the door right now? I didn't know who the fuck it was. So my wife stays back, and I'm walking to the door, and I'm carefully looking because the door's made of glass and you can see inside, but it was dark inside. So I said, let me see who it is. As I'm walking to the door, I see the fucking doorbell. And since we took the frame out, the doorbell was inside the house. Right then and there, I'm like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened? The doorbell went off. That fucking clicker is inside the house. Who could have rung it? I tried dropping it. I tried doing stuff to it. Didn't work. It never went off. You had to actually push that button. So I guess that was a welcoming, like, hey, welcome home. Anyways, the same thing happened to me and my brother-in-law at the same time. We were still doing construction here at the house. It was around 11 o'clock. Same thing, walking down the hallway, ding, 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 ding. The doorbell goes off. I'm like, fuck. What I do is I fucking throw that shit away. And that was the start. That was just the start. Things that happen to everybody here at the house, but I'm going to tell you my things. Another one was, I come home and my wife's working at the time, and it was at the beginning of us living here. My sister lived with us, and she stayed in this room, the gun room. It was her room, and it was around 2:30, 3 o'clock maybe. I come home from work early, and I need to take a shit. So bam, I fucking book it to the restroom, close the door, you know, and the restroom's right behind me. So I leave the door open because nobody's home. So I'm taking the shit. I'm having a good time, you know, relaxing, relieving my body from bodily fluids and stuff. And out of nowhere, I hear the door open. I hear keys. The fucking keys open up. The door. I hear the door swing open. Boom! It hit the wall. And then I hear my sister, and I hear her telling something to my daughter. Their voices. My daughter couldn't even talk yet. The babble that my daughter was saying was my daughter, and the voice was my sister. So what do? I reach over to the door and I slam it because I'm in the restroom with the door open. Well, I finish doing what I'm doing. I get out of the restroom and I realize what time it is. My sister's in school. My daughter's at my mother-in-law's. My wife is still working. Who was it? The exact same voices. Woo! That's some good shit right there. That's some good shit. Okay, that was one. That's another one. Another one is my uncle dies, and at that time it was already late, and I still was in that room that was pretty fucked up. I mean, that room it's got some history. I was already laying in bed, and I'm watching TV, and then, you know, it's like I'm already going to sleep, right? And my uncle just had passed away, and we're grieving him and stuff like that. And my wife is here with my mom, and she's in the living room. My mom was staying over at the time, and then I'm kind of crashing out, so I'm kind of like laying down on the bed, and then the door's in the front to the bed, and there's a light in the hallway. Well, that light was on. So if you've ever seen somebody come in through a hallway like that, you can't really see them. You see their shadow, but you can't see that person, their face, nothing. But you see the shadow when you go into a dark room that's dark. Well, I'm laying down, and then I see the door open, and then I look up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, it's my wife. And I know it's her shadow. Like, that is her shadow. Well, the shadow comes in, it closes the door, and then I kind of turn to my side a little bit, and the shadow goes around. It's my wife, I'm thinking. And the shadow comes in, lifts the covers, lays next to me. And I tell you, I'm this way now, I'm kind of sideways. And you know, I reach out and try to touch my wife. My hand hits the bottom of the bed. There's nobody there. That's another testimony to something that happened to me here. I automatically, like, Elsa, 'cause that's her name. Elsa! And bam, I hear her voice, and she's in the kitchen, and I'm just thinking, like, oh my god, who just fucking lay down next to me? That's another one. The worst one, probably, besides the voices, and there's more. The neighbors even have heard voices of people from this side making voices that they make because they have their washer and dryer outside. One of the guys said that somebody would call his wife, and his wife would tell him, "Hey, you're trying to scare me at night," and he wasn't even there. And until we told him the things that happened here at the house, that's when he's like, holy shit, you know, like, they would tell me. He was with 2 girls at that house, you know, consecutive, right? He was with 2 girls there, and they both said the same thing, and he thought that they were joking, but it was voices coming from this house. But they make the exact same voices of people that live in that house. Okay, so I got testimony from him. Another one is, and before this, I talked to a paranormal guy, and that was after this next one that I'm about to tell you. Me and my wife are fighting, and we're arguing, and there's bad tension in the house. And she goes to sleep in another room, and I'm still in that room where most of the stuff has happened. Well, she goes to the next room, and I can't really sleep. And I'm like, we're just, the tension is there. We're arguing, but I don't want her to sleep in another room, which was this room where she was sleeping. So the next room is where we slept. So she goes to bed, and then I'm asleep. And then I hear a thump, like a boom, like a really big thump, like somebody tried to get in the house. And then I come out the room, and I have my gun. At the time, I was already carrying. I didn't have a YouTube yet. I have my gun, and I go check the doors, and like somebody tried to come in, and she heard it too. And she's like, "What was that?" And at the time, now it's like I'm protecting her, and we're not mad at each other anymore. But we were still working. So I go and I check the doors. All the doors are closed. Everything's fine. Okay, we go back to bed. She still stays here, and I'm in the room. And now I'm panicking because I heard a big thump. Clearly a thump, like somebody trying to come in, or somebody hitting the wall really hard. And then I got the gun in my hand, and it's probably not a good thing to do, but I was already safe with it. And I'm going to sleep, and I'm finally drifting off. That time where you're going to sleep and you feel like your eyes are already closing and you're about to crash out. Well, what happened next was so chilling and terrifying to me at that time. I'm not gonna lie to you. It felt like a tornado going in my room. It felt like somebody was flipping the TV over so many times, and everything was so loud. And my wife goes into the room. Okay, so my battery died, and now I feel like turning the lights on because it's a little bit chilling to me right now. It's a little fucking chilling because I don't talk about it anymore. I let the spirit be. We got to share this house together, and I'm letting the spirit be. I don't try to provoke it. I don't try to invoke it. I know there's something here because a lot of people, some people have seen a little kid, and I've seen those shadows, and I felt that experience. But anyways, where I was at was my wife comes into the room, and she just like, what the fuck was that? And this was just in my room, the room that I was in, which was our master bedroom. And I'm in shock, and I'm like, I couldn't even go to sleep after that. I was so terrified. Like that movie Paranormal Activity where it starts getting windy. That was probably the scariest part to me in that movie, where everything just starts moving. That was pretty close to fucking real, what happened to me. It's just terrifying. And I'm not lying to you, I'm not pulling your chain. I hope you stuck around to hear the story. It's real. Ghosts are real. Spirits are real. And I firsthand can tell you that my house is haunted. So take it for what it is, guys. There's so many stories, and you know what? I shouldn't have probably said everything at once, and it isn't even everything. It's just some of the good ones. I should have waited, and I should have told y'all story by story, but I wanted to get this out there. And the movie, I know the soundtrack in the background is kind of cheesy, but it's true events. heard it from me. I wouldn't lie to you. And yeah, so I mean, oh, anyways, I talked to the paranormal guy after the fact that after this, and he tells me that you know, whatever spirit is here, it's attracted by negative energy. So if like me and my wife are fighting, it feeds off of that. If there's tension here in the house, it feeds off of that. The other day we were fighting again, and this is really quick. And this is where I kind of talk to the spirit and tell him, just leave me the fuck alone. We're fighting and talking about divorce and stuff. You know, seriously, like one of those kind of fights where you're like, you know, I want a divorce and this and that. Yes, I have a marriage just like no other. You know, like everybody. People fight. I fight with my wife, and we argue. We disagree, and we agree to disagree. Anyways, it was one of those fights, and again, there it goes. Boom! Somebody hit the button on my fan, and I'm talking. I have a fan in the room that moves around, but it has a button on the back that you have to push. Well, we hear that button push, and the fan starts fucking turning. And we're like, fuck. And that's when I'm like, dude, we're fighting. Just leave us the fuck alone. I kind of told the spirit that. And I kind of went to sleep and everything was okay. And I haven't really, like, talked about it. I wanted to do this a long time ago. Like I said, you know, my house is haunted. And it's haunted at times when there's negative energy. And I believe that now. I believe that paranormal guy knows what the fuck he's talking about. He actually wanted to come here to my house, and he was on the radio. So I called the radio and I told him the events that were happening. He's like, dude, like you got something there, you know, like I would like to go to your house and, you know, run that fucking energy kind of shit. But, you know, long video, guys, but man, I really appreciate all the people that stayed and watched and heard my stories. Please make video responses. I would love to hear the stories that you have to say. This house was built in 1967. It has a history. Oh yeah, look, I've been collecting kind of toys. I'm kind of like a little nerd now again. You know, I never ever, as a little kid, I always wanted these. I never had them, you know. And then I got the Power Rangers. I've been seeing that in the background. Kind of like a big kid at heart here, but I wouldn't lie to you about the stories, so. Alright guys, you have a good one.